What if the problem in your life right now is not actually the situation? What if the real problem is the way you are seeing it? Because this is one of the biggest things people don't understand about their own mind. Most people think they react to reality, but very often they don't react to reality. They react to their interpretation of reality. And those are not the same thing. That's why two people can go through something very similar and one becomes stronger because of it, while the other becomes more broken because of it. Same event, different meaning, different emotion, different life. And once you understand that, you start to realize that a lot of your pain is not coming only from what happened. It's coming from what you made it mean. That is powerful. Because if meaning was assigned, meaning can be changed. And if meaning can be changed, everything can start changing. How you feel, how you act, what you do next, and the direction of your life. That's what this video is about. Let's make this very simple. Something happens, then your mind asks, consciously or unconsciously, what does this mean? And your emotional experience starts there, not after the event, after the meaning. That's why one person gets rejected and thinks, see, I'm not enough. And another person gets rejected and thinks, good, wrong person, wrong door, move on. One person fails and thinks, I'm a failure. Another person fails and thinks, okay, that didn't work, lesson learned. One person gets criticized and thinks, they exposed me. Another person thinks, maybe there is something useful here, maybe there isn't, but I'm not collapsing because of one opinion. Same type of event, completely different internal response. Why? Because the brain reacts to meaning, not just to facts. This is why I always say things don't have meaning. We give them meaning. Now, I'm not saying painful things don't happen. Of course they do. I'm not saying you should pretend everything is amazing. That's not the point. The point is this. The event and your interpretation of the event are two different things. And most people merge them together. They say, this happened, so it means I'm weak. This happened, so it means life is against me. This happened, so it means I will never recover. This happened, so it means something is wrong with me. No, something happened, then you decided what it meant. And then you started feeling what you are feeling because of that meaning. That distinction changes everything. Because when you separate the event from the meaning, you get your power back. Think about how often people take one moment and turn it into identity. One mistake becomes, I am stupid. One rejection becomes, I'm not lovable. One embarrassing moment becomes, I should never put myself out there again. One failure becomes, I'm just not that type of person. That is how people get trapped. Not because of one event, but because they build a whole story around one event. And then that story starts running their life. They stop taking risks. They stop speaking up. They stop believing in themselves. They stop going after what they want. Because now they're not reacting to the present anymore. They are reacting to the meaning they attached in the past. And that meaning becomes their reality. This is why your questions matter so much. Because questions control focus, and focus controls meaning. If something goes wrong and you ask, why is this happening to me? Why do I always ruin everything? Why is life so unfair? Why am I like this? Your brain will answer, and the answers will usually make you feel weaker. But if you ask better questions, you change your direction. Questions like, what else could this mean? What am I not seeing yet? How could this help me later? What is this trying to teach me? What opportunity is hidden here? Now your brain starts searching differently. Now your focus changes. Now your emotional state changes. And the moment your state changes, your behavior changes too. This is why one better question can literally change your whole day, sometimes more than that. And this is also why sometimes the worst thing that ever happened to you later becomes one of the best things that ever happened to you. Not because it felt good at the time, not because it was easy, but because later you saw something you couldn't see before. At the time, you only saw pain. Later, you saw direction. At the time, you only saw loss. Later, you saw protection. At the time, you only saw the ending. Later, you realized it was the beginning of something better. Almost everybody has had this experience. Something happened and you thought, this is terrible. And then later you looked back and realized, if that didn't happen, I would still be stuck. I would still be blind. I would still be in the wrong place. I would still be with the wrong person. I would still be living the wrong life. So be very careful with quick meanings, because life is too deep to judge in one emotional moment. A lot of people are stuck not because of strategy, but because of story. They keep trying to change their life on the outside without changing the meaning system on the inside. They want confidence, but they still interpret discomfort as danger. They want success, but they still interpret mistakes as proof they're not enough. They want better relationships, but they still interpret vulnerability as weakness. They want growth, but they still interpret uncertainty as something bad. So they keep trying harder, but the inner story stays the same. The behavior keeps getting pulled back. That's why this matters so much, because the meanings inside your mind affect everything. Your confidence, your self-worth, your courage, your decisions, your standards, your future. So what do you do with this? The next time something happens, pause before you label it. Pause before you turn it into identity. Pause before you decide what it means about you. And ask yourself, what meaning am I giving this right now? Is this meaning making me stronger or weaker? What could also be true here? What could be good about this that I'm not seeing yet? How could this serve me instead of destroy me? That doesn't mean fake positivity. It means you stop blindly obeying your first interpretation. Because your first interpretation is often emotional, incomplete, and biased. And if you treat it like absolute truth, you will suffer unnecessarily. I want you to really hear this. You don't control every event in life, but you do have power over meaning. And that changes everything. Because the moment meaning changes, emotion changes. The moment emotion changes, behavior changes. The moment behavior changes, your direction changes. And that is how life starts changing. Sometimes not through one giant external breakthrough, but through one internal shift in interpretation. So next time something happens, don't just ask, why is this bad? Ask, what could be good about this that I'm not seeing yet? Because the moment you change the question, you change your focus. The moment you change your focus, you change your meaning. And the moment you change your meaning, you change your direction. If this hit you, then this is exactly the kind of work we do inside Mental Fitness Gym membership. We help people train their minds, strengthen their self-worth, and stop being controlled by old interpretations, old emotional patterns, and old inner blocks. So if you want deeper mental transformation, join us inside. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, comment below. And I'll see you in the next video.